Hello guys, and welcome back to Owl003, where I'm mapping the matrix one target at a time. Today I want to talk about my pyramid technology session and a hypothesis I have as it pertains to where these cross sections are happening between some of these targets. And as a remote viewer, you're trained to describe how you feel, the impressions you get, stuff that you get in there. But you don't really you're not really supposed to put together a narrative, and I don't really want to do that either. I'm just kind of what I've noticed, and I don't know if this is what's going on. It's just something that I want you guys to consider because it's kind of interesting to me, and we'll see what you think. So let's talk about what we know first. Okay, so Skinwalker Ranch. What do we know about Skinwalker Ranch? Okay. There's conductive materials like all over the ranch. They have done LiDAR scans. They found what seems to be almost like what looks on the surface like circuits. I mean, they were plugging light bulbs into dirt with a Tesla coil and it was being used as a medium to power it up. So they found that. They found what Travis described as, it seems like a circuit board in the ground. Okay. Now we know that it's pumping out that 4.7 gigahertz signal broadcast or whatever. Okay. Which is accompanied with a bunch of high strangeness with it. They're seeing UFOs, and it has a spatial anomaly there. And anytime they poke the nest, they have government helicopters, ops, surveillance come around. But it's littered with like meteor showers. Okay. Now I went to Utah for my training, and it's a very interesting landscape there. It really reminds me of like the surface of the moon. It's crazy. So anyway, that's the story there. So, and they have the mesa. And they're finding, so the materials that they are finding seems to be like materials that you would build a spacecraft with, or microchip, type of materials, stuff like that, right? Okay. Now let's look at the Blindfrog. All right, they've got exotic materials, meteor graveyard. They dug up this old wooden container of this rock with that mined metal in there. That would be used, I believe, for like microchips and stuff. And the funny part was, but the year that they, it was like where it would have been buried was like before it was invented. So it was kind of, it left the people studying it confused, right? So like signs of like ancient mining, right? High strangeness, UFOs, government ops and surveillance. Okay, and they're surrounded by, I think, mountains or something. I don't know. Now you've got the mountains of Mexico, the zone of silence we just did. Okay. Now that place has had rockets crash into it, like pulled down into it. There's no signals there in or out. There's, at least for my session, there seemed to be a broadcast, high strangeness, UFO sightings. I think there's spatial anomalies there too. Meteors. And I looked at something where it was saying that it's peculiar that so many of these meteors are crashing there, right? It's like, of all the places to land, they keep landing in this one kind of area, right? So exotic semiconductor type materials, a crazy amount of meteor crashes. So let me ask you this. So I've got these materials. If there were these ancient mining structures, okay, let's just speculate, in the earth, okay. Let's say, okay, that there was some culture way back in history that had, this technology to maybe get off planet or something crazy like that. And maybe they went underground. Okay, let's say that they're just let's say that there's a subhuman species that kind of went their way, we went ours above ground, and there was some kind of alliance. You know, we worked together or whatever. Um, and you know, no big deal. But how would you do it? How would you, if you, what if the materials were really, you know, not high in amount here on Earth, or hard to find, or not at all, but you need these materials to get off planet? Well, in my mind, you would build a giant ass, like magnet or something, and pull these meteors into your doorstep, and then mine it. Now that's a hypothesis, okay? But again, it's just data keeps like pushing me in these kinds of directions, right? So again, that rocket crash. So say you build this thing back in the day, so you have, you know, you're mining all this material so you can do whatever with it, right? What else would it be good for? Well, if it could suck in a meteor from space, it could probably take down any ships. Okay. Now, again, that's just a hypothesis. So now let's get to the pyramids. But either way, you have this, like the ground is a medium for energy or something. There's these hidden structures in the earth, right? Seems to be. So let's talk about the pyramids. Now you got these pyramids scattered across the planet, okay? A lot of which happen to intersect perfectly with each other on like ley lines. Cultures have nothing to do with each other. Would make no logical sense. I mean, the odds have to be so out of the box. So, I mean, it just, I mean, okay, I mean, let's say it's not coincidence. Okay. Then what's the purpose? What the hell's the purpose of all these pyramids all over the planet? Okay. Now, let's say, for instance, there was some free energy out there, okay? There was some way to tap into the planet's energy grid, okay? How? I have no idea. I'm not a scientist. But the Earth moves at 1,000 miles an hour. It spins. I mean, and it's the biggest piece of hunk. I mean, we're all drawn to it. I mean, it's the biggest. I mean, if you're able to tap into that, maybe you could do something with it. I don't know. But knowing what we just talked about, I'm going to go over my pyramid technology session. Structures, holiday. Excited to be here. Kind of looks like a UFO. So I'm getting an AOL of a corporate order. This feels affordable. Discrete. Getting like this pyramid structure. Something in the sky. AOL portal, AOL Skinwalker, and charged particles. Okay, I got a UFO here. Okay. Like a firefight. So I'm getting the sense of these guys going to war with each other, right? AOL Space Secrets. Okay, so now I'm getting the sense, AOL Military Industrial Complex. I'm getting a sense of like a portal or a rip has been opened in the sky, okay? And with this session, the other sessions, the data to me is pushing that, like, it's almost like people on Earth and the people, that the culture that's lived below Earth have kind of made an alliance to keep other things out, okay? So, I'm getting this energy grid. I'm getting the spin of the Earth, you know, all this motion. This idea of frequency, star cluster, like a fence. Old, destructive, and ingenuity. Like a harmonic scale, peak point. Tactics, calibration. Trajectory. Again, this feels like a structure hidden in like a mountain or something. Interlocking. So I'm getting this hole in the earth, okay? Now I'm below. High-speed dynamics, tangibles, earth, electrical. This feels exclusive. AOL Agartha. What is noteworthy here? Intrusive, mapping, elder race, territorial and stern, shared. Like shared knowledge and wealth. So again, I got this device, this big structure or something. Cycle station. Like a satellite inhibitor, doomsday device. Sense of frequent interruption. So, again, to me, it almost felt like initially this was built as some kind of like a planetary defense system or something, or some kind of grid of energy, okay, around the planet. It's just how it felt to me. Now, is that what it is? I don't know. You know, I don't know. I'd love to see what you guys have on something like this, though. AOL spy satellite. Document. I get a sense of a briefing or someone being briefed about this. A globalist nature, globalist identity, an incursion event that's well documented. Sense of multiple events, a separatist nation, forensic holding pattern, inclusion. Break mobility. So I'm getting these mountainous kind of areas and this underground aspect of this, and a sense of an alliance, okay, like a destructive alliance. So I have this satellite here, like this. If you look over to the right, there is this underground mountainous aspect, structure under here, and there is this, what I believe to be this thing that probably broadcast this out or something, but it was like a satellite. Now, more UFOs, you know. Okay, so here's another crazy part. When I went underground, you know, I'm underground in these caverns, and it feels like it's so massive down there. Like there's UFOs flying around down there like they would be flying out here in the sky. I mean, that's the scale of this, okay? Okay, well, Artemis. Yeah, so here we go. Another structure that's under the land there, okay? It felt like there was a built AOL break habitat into the land. AOL break subterranean. Now, I saw this somewhere. I can't remember where. Somebody's session out there. Oh, who was it? Where they talked about like a nail into the ground or something. If you look at this, again, so you've got this AOL break hidden observatory. Underground mining. So to me, this felt like this is all aspects of this planetary, or this machine tapping into the Earth, right? Here's a better picture. And again, so going inside the structures. Regional, AOL break holding pattern. Precautionary, AOL break alliance. AOL signal, like an order to stay down in this and hide, or in this hole. It was almost like there was a point where the cultures had either clashed or whatever. It's like, you go down there, we'll stay up here, and we'll all be fine. Old. Regional symbolism infrastructure, a reactor. So now this feels like I'm in maybe one of the structures back in the day. I've got this guy with his garb. ArcNet reactor, AOL. Just looking up at this, something above him. High priest or priestess worship, idyllic reformation. Now, this is what's interesting. This comes up over and over and over and over, and that is ancient Vedic tradition. It seems, and I've done these targets like way far apart. They're all blind, So it seems like there's some kind of connection there. Okay. Maybe this of the origin of this Vedic tradition. I don't know. AL signal, like naturally born here. Vedic tradition. Cryptography. Architecture, design. Like how the West was won. Again, so I keep getting these feelings of like these guys needed to buddy up and come up with a strategy to keep these things out. Hybrid being enrichment. AOL, like ancient Egypt. AOL signal, starborn, like born from the stars. An epitaph, scripture, ancient text. Like an act of desperation, like frequent stops along the way. Get the impression of the symbolic nature of the structure. Arrested history. That's interesting. Arrested history. Hermetic society. Electrically charged particles. Get the sense of a growth process. God-fearing tribalism, infirmary. Hollow Earth theory. Sense there's something seductive about this process, a tribunal. Divine nature. Sagittal crest, do I get that? Like an insurance policy. A separatist nation, a tribe. Holistic nature. So again, I'm getting these, now this to me is like representative of Earth in like ley lines or something. The curvature of the Earth seems relevant to this target. Portability. Stellar regions. Origins. Capitalism ideology. Sense of formality here. Caretaker, like a planetary caretaker. And it's funny too, because I got this guy hooked up to this helmet in this other session I did, just in the Mexico one. It kind of reminds me of that. It's like a technology. Flashpoint technology. Primal instincts. Instinctual nature. Hybrid. Disturbed. Unique stoic. And again, this guy to me looks like a miner. If you were to look at that guy, just, you know, with what he's wearing, it looks like he's wearing a miner hat and, you know, like heavy clothes or whatever. And or they're building something. Like withheld knowledge. Societal impact. So again, I'm getting these, so symbolism, I'm getting these centrifugal force. I'm getting this sense of like a big rotation, okay? Orbital, star cluster. Rapid descent. Endothermic reactor. Artificial, a rogue nation. So going again. AOL, stellar regions. Fossilized, AOL. I'm impressed. So now my subconscious is like attempting to break down the science here, I think. Okay, AOL break harmonic frequency. So I'm getting like some kind of motion happening here. And it's like it's telling me, I think what it's explaining here is it's going from pyramid to pyramid to pyramid to pyramid to pyramid. Vibratory resonance. AOL break religious sect. AOL breaks zealot. And I got this guy. It's so much similar. I mean, I don't know, but it's like a. To me, it's almost like it's like a telepathic interface, whatever they're using here. Tutankhamun, Lazarus device. Okay, so here is. This actually kind of looks like the pyramids of Giza specifically. AOL break vault, AOL break tribal warfare. Impression of an intermittent signal, like signal blocking, satellite inhibitor. Another UFO, shooting stuff out, like calling for help. Stellar region, interplanetary defense grid. Get the impression pyramids have something to do with this. Pole to pole. That to me is a representation of, you know, the pyramids around the world. A grid system, interplanetary warfare and guidance system. And I get this a lot, a destructive alliance. Now, I would guess that that's either us with them or whoever's like, you know, coming in here and messing with us, at least at that time. So, destructive alliance, flashpoint frequency, projectile weaponry, revolutionary, planetary-wide, subjugation, substantial, a defense grid, orbital penetration. So yeah, it's almost like all these pyramids connected, which combined made this formed like this, like almost like a shield or something. I don't know. Like I said, I can't. You couldn't. You know, I wish I had the imagination for some of this. I wouldn't believe it. So again, like I'm getting this electricity shooting out of this thing. Calibration, zoning permitted, proprietary. Calibrate. Longevity. Like a cosmic rebirth. A grid system. Privatization. Insurgency. Caretakers. Like caretakers of the earth. Ancient. Gifted. Control grid. Okay. Target feels to consist of a historic event or series of events, an incursion, and several structures and people. The outside environment feels rocky and isolated. I get the impression of several objects in the sky. I felt that mobility is a big part of what's happening here. There's a star cluster that is significant to what is happening. I get the impression of frequent interruption, the feeling of desperation, and electrified system. Tactics, calibration, and trajectory. A sense feeling of highly exclusive or exclusivity about this. I get the impression that a big aspect of these structures are underground. High speed, focused and idealistic people in an underground tunnel. I get the impression of intrusive, territorial, and stern beings here. Sense of an elder race, corrosive materials, a sense of security risk here. This all feels well documented. A sense of a globalist nature and identity, and again, this incursion event. The Nation of Islam, a separatist nation. Forensic science feels pertinent to this target. I get a feeling of inclusion and some kind of holding pattern. There is a regional aspect to this target, precautionary. Something here feels arranged. A sense of memorandum, and something about this target is causal. Impression of reactor, picking up on old idyllic high priest or priestess that feels to be worshipping this structure. There are aspects to this target that feel quite ancient. This sense of Vedic tradition, cryptography, and architectural design plays a part in this target. I'm picking up on a republic, ceremonial, and an ancient ritual. There is a ritualistic nature about something here. A hybrid being, male, feels front and center around this entire target. An epitaph, ancient text and scripture. There is a lead-lined aspect to the structure. The sense of arrested and, again, historic. I'm picking up on an older, sad, sick male, the sense of salvation, and a hermetic society. Aspects of the target are seemingly highly scrutinized and controversial. I picked up on a catalyst, a retributionary action, a hot topic, highly debated. I am picking up on forensic sciences, a sense of charged particles, religious beliefs, glory, and attainment. Hebrew text relating to this target, a sense of growth, a growth process, a God-fearing tribalistic people. I am picking up on an infirmary, a tribunal, and the divine nature of something or someone, a tribe with a holistic nature. This idea of irrefutable evidence. The curvature of the earth seems relevant to this target. Again, this sense of stellar region origins, a capitalism ideology, and this feeling of a caretaker and formality. I get the sense of flashpoint technology and a primal instinctual nature. The impression of informed decision and national pride. Something here feels signatory and withheld. Desperation, hopeful, patronage, and suffering. I get the sense of a societal impact. This feeling of orbital, an endothermic reactor, endomorphic person or people, and a rogue nation. Something directional is happening here. I am picking up on a satellite inhibitor and an interplanetary defense grid. Flashpoint frequency, a destructive alliance, projectile weaponry, revolutionary, sustainable, and planetary wide. The orbital penetration of a planetary defense grid. Session end. So, again, it's just a theory. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. It just seems like it's, as time goes by, I always kind of just shake my head. But it's time. But again, you keep doing targets like this, it pushes you into a corner of, well, what is my subconscious trying to express here? So, if you've ever looked into the science around the pyramids, or if you've done any of those other targets, or if you have any theories, about these things, go ahead and let me know. And if you guys like what I'm doing for you and what I'm showing and presenting, please subscribe and like. If not, then don't. I don't care. But otherwise, we'll catch you next time, guys.